Hello folks, and welcome back to Mod of the Month, where we showcase some of the best builds completed over the last month over in the BitTech forums. Corsair has upped the ante and are providing a host of Hydro X themed goodies, with first place netting a choice of an XC9 or XC7 RGB CPU block, a choice of GPU block from their range, an XD5 RGB pump reservoir combo, and a Commander Pro. Second place gets a choice of CPU block and GPU block, and third gets a choice of CPU block. As ever, if you want to be in with a chance of taking part and netting some pretty awesome Corsair goodies, all you need to do is have a completed project log hosted over on the BitTech forums. Enjoy the builds. First up, congratulations to last month's winner Blackhawk by PC Custom. Last month was a bit nuts on the voting front, with only 3 votes separating the top from the bottom. Heck, we almost ended up with a 5-way tie in fact. So let's see who's in the runnings for this month. You may remember Sputnik from our quarantine modding update special a couple months back. Well, SPIC managed to finish his mod, and it's quite a stunner. The laser cut aluminium framework has now been painted a sympathetic black and white, which matches up cleanly with the design and the components, although I'm perhaps a little bit salty that he didn't choose to clear anodize instead. The triangular prism shape is really rather unique in that the chassis can be placed in different orientations, such as on its side or stood vertically. Cooling is handled via a multitude of vents positioned around the panels and on the end. There are lots of little details to be found in this design too, such as the sweeping triangular vents on the top, constructed from radiating intersecting curves. The SSDs add a final splash of colour to the mix without pushing the lighting over the edge. They say that necessity is the mother of invention, and I truly believe that to be the case with Scratchback. As a result of quarantine restrictions, Canard WC decided to make use of recycled and spare parts to construct his Scratch build. Based on an earlier mod from years before, Scratchback takes a form similar to that of a Core P3 chassis. This is accomplished by mounting the parts to a rear panel using a series of handmade angle brackets. He then used a GPU riser cable to mount the GPU over the motherboard and then made a rear power switch for easier access. The main structural panels are held together using a set of 4 threaded rods and nuts, and the panels themselves are finished with a light brushing and dark lacquer, giving the whole rig an antique, home-crafted feel. Project Firewater is really a good bit of fun, because let's be honest, who would ever think to make a PC into a fireplace? It's an interesting take on the Thermaltake Premium logo too, which oddly doesn't look out of place here. The main structure of the chassis is formed from MDF, which was screwed together and then painted white and black. The fire is then provided by a clever use of fluttering artificial flames powered by fans hidden underneath the fire rocks. To bring some actual heat into the mix, Jason fitted the system with a beefy Threadripper 2990WX, which is seen to by a 480mm radiator on the first loop, with the GTX 1080 cooled by another 480mm radiator on the other. The effect is then finalised via the use of ARGB lighting throughout the chassis, providing a warm and cosy glow. Building off the theme of his previous Dark Base 500 build, Chris put Pastel DX into Be Quiet's more airflow optimised 500DX chassis. The main focus is the water cooling setup itself, which adds a contrasting colour to the white chassis and components. The loop itself is rather curious, with the reservoir placed above the GPU and the pump mounted sideways near the top of the chassis. To accomplish this, he moved the GPU to one of the lower PCIe slots, providing room for the mini reservoir. It's an interesting look, although perhaps not one that I would readily suggest given the pump location. The build's blue and white theme is then finished off through the tasteful use of ARGB lighting on the main components. Now to another COVID mini project. Tweet Era is about exploring how changing the layout of a case can affect the internal space. Being an ITX chassis, space is in fact at a premium, which meant swapping out the internal panels and rearranging things so that the motherboard sits parallel with the power supply. This change in positioning allowed ample room for a large GPU to be slotted in vertically as opposed to the standard horizontal found in the chassis. This change, when combined with the shortened cables, meant that even with a 240mm all-in-one cooler installed and 2 additional fans on the top, the interior is still neat and surprisingly accessible. Remember folks, if you'd like to be in with a chance of taking part and potentially winning some Corsair Hydro X gear, you just need to have a completed project log over on the BitTech forums. Be warned though, we do like to see how the projects grow, so get in early and show us the progress. It goes without saying that if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as modding really is our jam. We're going to have plenty more project logs, part reviews, and tutorials on the way, and you really don't want to miss out. You can also find us over on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and builds.gg. Definitely don't forget to pop into our Discord server linked below, as it's the best way to stay up to date with all the modding talk. Plus I've heard we're not half bad to chat to. We also have, of course, our new merchandise store set up and running, so if you'd like to help and support the channel, be sure to have a browse through there. If you ask me, I'm particularly partial to the BitTech mug, since after all, a capacious brew helps you through. Now take care folks, and I'll catch you next time.